Welcome to season 2 of Rabbit Holes with Aaron, where we haven't made any drastic changes, but we believe we get better with time. So enjoy the wide constellation of guests that I have on this show. Enjoy our conversations. Hopefully, you get some nuggets and you can learn and grow and become a better person. Thanks for listening. Hello, welcome to Rabbit Holes with Aaron. I'm Aaron, and today I have a very special guest with me. His name is Jimmy Valance. He's a Vietnam veteran. He's a retired pilot. Uh, I know he operated or flew private jets, which I'm sure there's plenty of really good stories in all of this. But hi, Jimmy.
Hi, Aaron. Looking forward to this.
Yeah, well, thanks. Thanks for being a guest on my podcast and taking a little chance, a little risk, and a little bit of discomfort to get everything together. But here we are. And you had shared when we talked previously before we started recording that you had a funny multi-part Vietnam story to share with us. And we don't get enough Vietnam stories if you ask me. So please take it away.
I, I do have a funny story. Uh, I was in an artillery battery, and for much of the time in Vietnam, we were situated on a remote hilltop uh, overlooking the Antenna Valley on the east and the Quang Nam Valley on the west. It may be the other way around. Uh, and when we arrived there, it was uninhabited, although I think an army unit might have been there prior. And there was it was the start of the monsoons.
Mm.
I think we got there on a bright sunny day, and the monsoons hit the next day for a while.
How
And
long do they usually last?
can't remember. I think it lasted till November or December.
Oh, it was like a whole seasonal thing.
Yeah,
Okay,
and it seems
thank
like
you.
it wasn't constant, uh, but it was unpleasant enough that several of us uh, postponed going to the head for
Mm.
some days until there was no getting around it. So there was some leftover two-hole collapsible portable take them with you wherever you go heads,
Okay.
uh, and I don't know, picture a board 4 feet by 2 feet with two holes on it,
Okay.
and no privacy barriers or anything.
Yeah.
So Tom and I decided, all right, we'll go to the head. Gonna have to sooner or later.
Right.
And and it was so full of what everyone had already deposited that to make a deposit, you had to raise up on your hands to make room for it.
Oh no.
Oh no, yeah. So so mission complete. Took care of that. Went back to our GB medium and said, I don't want to have to do that again. So we dug one of our own,
Okay.
and we dug it so well and so deep that I was the last guy in the bottom. We had a rope and a bucket that we were putting dirt into the bucket, and the other guys were
Okay.
hauling the bucket out.
Yeah.
And being the last guy in the hole, it was so deep I couldn't get out.
Oh
I
no.
knew I don't even remember how they got me out, but I couldn't reach the top. So we got out, and then we took ammo boxes, which the box for or a 105 round
Oh, yeah.
was carried 2 rounds in it, and there was some usable wood there, and we made a classic, South Alabama outhouse with
Okay.
pitched roof and everything,
There you go.
and because we were territorial and aloof, uh, we made the seat removable, and the part that wasn't removable, we put nails in so that it would be uncomfortable for anybody else to sit on it, and you
Oh
had
my
to come to
goodness.
us for the seat. We had it
Okay.
well done,
I
though.
mean, when you work on something and you make it just right, you don't want other people messing it up.
Yeah, no, and then every 3 or 4 days, we'd take, powder bags, which, 7 bags come with every artillery round,
Oh,
but
okay.
every shot does not require all 7 bags,
Right.
and you end up with a lot of, I was gonna say gunpowder, I guess that's what it is. It's not
Yeah.
shaped like it. It looks more like horse feed, if I remember right. We'd take all the excess bags and light them and drop in the hole and took care of odor.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was
And
gonna
and
think it would blow everything up, but I guess it
plus,
just
no, it just fizzled. It's not like it wasn't like lighting a firecracker. It was like lighting.
so
Hmm.
you'd empty the bag out down in there and then light it and it would just kind of
Yeah,
burn everything?
yeah. No, when it got going, we'd throw some full bags down, and
Okay.
still it was a big fire or an intense fire, but it wasn't an explosion.
Okay.
Uh, and life was grand. We had our little head that nobody but our little section used, and it came to be Halloween, and TJ was concerned that someone was going to prank us and burn down our head.
Uh-oh.
And we sort of didn't, I mean, we cared, but it wasn't that big a deal for us. But TJ couldn't couldn't let it go. So he dressed up all in flak jacket, helmet, M16, and hid behind the blast wall around our tent so that if anybody should come and try to burn down our head, he would be able to stop them. Well, TJ went to sleep on guard, and he
Uh-oh.
woke up to the sight of the outhouse engulfed in flame.
Oh no.
He was so sad.
Wow.
But it oddly, uh, I don't even remember the process, but it seems like the next day there was enough spare ammo boxes and uh, hardware. We built it right up and had it again in a day or two. Uh,
Okay.
others might have a different recollection on the time frame, but I think I've pretty much got it accurate.
Okay. Does that conclude your story?
Well, it leads into a TJ story.
Okay, that's
Did
fine.
you ever live?
Continue.
Did you ever live in a GP medium?
Tent?
Yeah.
I don't know how many people fit into a GP medium.
Ooh, 12,
I probably have. Yeah. I mean, I think we
maybe.
had those set up for like BAS and other small shops at various times.
Yeah, it was the standard. It was a GP medium in the Marines and the Army. Everybody had the same name for it, and it was the same tent.
Okay.
Uh, so we lived in a GP medium, and as we walked from the entryway toward the rear of the tent, mine was the last bunk on the right, and TJ's cot was the last one on the left, and Tom was next to me,
Okay.
and surely it's the same cot you use with the X supports
Yeah.
when viewed from the end, the legs make an X. So we
Yeah.
woke up one morning and got to go on watch in 15, 20 minutes, and Tom's reaching for his sock, uh, and TJ says, "Tom, I wouldn't do that if I were you, because if you imagine uh, a narrow pathway between the ends of the cots, it it was not a stretch to extend your arm above your head and reach over and drape something across the X of the other
Yeah.
guy's cot." So Tom's reaching for that sock, and TJ says, "Oh, Tom, I wouldn't do that." Tom says, "Well, TJ, why not?" I said, "Well, I had to take care of a little problem in the night last night, and I used your sock. I'm sorry."
Oh no.
He did. and 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 one of the finest demonstrations of kindness and restraint, Tom's only response was, "Well, TJ, thank you for letting me know about that before I put it on. I'm so glad I didn't put it on. I'll just get another sock."
Yeah. Yeah.
Most people would get a little irritated.
Yeah. How dare you? I mean, we do hold on to our possessions, even all the way down to the sock,
We
so
do.
fiercely, don't we sometimes? And thank you for sharing that story with me. And it's just an insight. To me, it's an insight into how Marines are the same generation to generation. We're still brothers, even though we weren't born together, and even though we didn't know each other before we joined a lot of times, we're still like brothers. We're sleeping in the same tent, we're eating the same food, we care about our bathroom, our head. I had a thought. It reminded me, how most people take bathrooms for granted. And in the RV life, sometimes we have sewage hookups, and sometimes we don't. And sometimes we're in the middle of nowhere, in a forest or something, and there's just our RV there. And if the tank's full, well, then things get a little bit crazy and a little
Uh,
dicey here in the RV. Jill starts warning me as the blank tanks gets fuller and fuller, and we're at an RV park now, and we're hooked up to sewer, so I can just the black tank's full. I go out and open up the black tank and let it drain through the hose. Don't have to get my hands dirty or anything. But when we're not, then it's a different story altogether. But it just makes me, you know, there's times where me and Joe pull into an RV spot. We're like, oh, we have bathrooms and fresh water again and electricity, and those are the things that everybody has unless you're deployed. And then sometimes you do and sometimes you don't.
and that it occurred to me the other day, not for the first time. I just thought about it the other day. Uh, the word, and I guess this goes back to same category as housewife and sewing kit.
Okay.
Uh, the term deployment is sort of foreign to me. We didn't use it
Oh,
in the
really?
late 60s.
Well, and you all deploy no, didn't you all deploy, like, in smaller numbers? Like, when we deployed, the whole unit goes and a whole unit comes back.
We we went as individuals.
Mm, yeah, that's what I've
The
heard.
I knew some of the people on the plane, what 707 or whatever it was, that left out of Travis Air Force Base.
Yeah,
Uh, but most of them I did not know. Uh,
yeah.
and then when we got there, we slept the first night. It seemed like we were 20 feet off the side of the runway, but I'm sure it was further than that. But we slept on a
Yeah.
GP medium on Da Nang Airport, uh, if you can call it sleep, uh, and waited to be told where you're going next. And it was just me.
Yeah. Go way over there, or go to that tent over there, or go to this tent and ask that person.
Yeah,
And well, yeah, it was a different time. I think the Marine Corps learned a lot from that. Well, all the military did, and that's why we deploy the way we deploy now. As a unit, we go out, we come back, and go through all the training beforehand, go through all the training when we get back on how to be normal again, all as a unit. Just like kind of reminds me of World War II, where they went out in ships and then they had the long ship back to kind of process some of the stuff they had seen and experienced in war.
I had the
That's what they're.
benefit of that too.
Did you? Did you sail back?
Came home on the boat.
Okay. How long was that journey?
I think it was 19 days.
Okay. Wow. Well, thank you. I'm just feel honored to talk about these stories with you and to learn this
Oh,
about
thank you, sir.
your experience. I don't want to miss out on the sewing kit versus housewife topic, and I don't even know where you're gonna go with it, but
Well, not
I,
not too far. It's just that I don't know what. Excuse me. I don't know what we were talking about at Bible study last week or the week before. Uh, but it made me recognize that there are some things like deployment. We didn't have deployment. We just
right,
it was a tour. It was a
right.
13-month tour. It wasn't a deployment. Uh,
So it's like
and
different terms for
yeah,
the same
different
thing.
terms for a different time in the Marine Corps. Uh, I mean, I hear them on the news, or see them in movies. There's the DFAC,
Yeah,
the
chow.
IFAC, uh, but not the housewife.
Yeah.
And we did not have a DFAC. We had a chow hall,
Okay.
and we didn't have an IFAC because we didn't even have a first aid kit. Uh, and the star of the story was the housewife, was the sewing kit, the little vinyl with a snap closure thing that had needle and thread in there, and if something rips, tears, breaks, you pull your housewife out and fix it.
Yep. Yep. And I've always called it, and the whole time I was in a Marine Corps for 20 years, we always called it a sewing kit, and we always had to have it, no matter what the gear list was. The sewing kit seemed like it was always on there,
Oh yeah.
though I rarely used it because, of course, in more modern days, we had seamstresses and we were on base, and even when we were in Iraq, they had a little PX, and they didn't have a tailoring shop. We didn't have to work on our uniforms, and we did have our sewing kits. I've used my sewing kit to do some repairs on my uniforms before. Um, and I still have a sewing kit sitting here in the RV that's from when I was in the Marine Corps. I've used it to put on a button after I ripped it off on accident. That's all I've used it for ever, but it's there. And if I need to fix something, you know, I'm ready to
It's
go.
it's
But that
it's
is
there, and
interesting.
it's almost part of your 782 gear. Do we still have that?
That's what I called it when I was in 782 gear.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, good. Some things never change.
Ace harness, canteen. Yeah.
Yeah, belt suspender straps. What else? Uh, knapsack.
Yeah, we got a day pack. It was Molly gear, but then it moved to no, it was Alice pack. Then it moved to Molly
And
pack.
was there still a field marching pack?
No, there's no marching pack. I mean,
It
we had a pack for taking to the field and for marching in.
well, there
Um,
depending on how the backpack was loaded and configured and how much stuff was on it, I'm thinking that if you had everything you had and your shelter half rolled up in an inverted horseshoe up one side across the top and down the other side of the pack, that made it a field marching pack.
oh, okay, okay. Yeah, we didn't use that configuration. Of course, the gear changed drastically. We had, we had Gore-Tex, top to bottom. We had Gore-Tex pants, Gore-Tex top, Gore-Tex. I don't know if we had a hat. Gore-Tex gloves, Gore-Tex boots, probably. So if it was cold outside and wet, we'd say we're going to Gore 4. It's when you're wearing all four
Never heard
pieces. Well, and then Gore 4. So it's like it's so cold, we're gonna have to go to Gore 4. And you wore Gore-Tex top to bottom, and then there's another one, but we got that from the NBC system, which was mop level. So you have mop level 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so if you're a mop level 4, it's like you're in a mop suit, top and bottom, gas mask, with the hat on, with the hood on. So
I
yeah, that's
was, we had no mop levels when I was in the Marines, but by the time I got to the Army, we did.
okay.
Or maybe the Army had always had it. I don't know.
Well, give us a brief overview of your military history. So you said you were in the Marine Corps and you went to the Army. What do you remember what year you went in the Marine Corps and take it from there?
Uh, if we're going to be picky and detailed about it, my my first military experience was in the sixth grade. The local Marine Corps recruiter came by and talked to
Okay.
all the junior traffic policemen. Said, "We're starting a drill team. Be at the Patterson Field Saturday morning at 8 o'clock. You want to be on the drill team?" And went home, told mama. She said, "Yeah, I'll take you." And so I was in the junior traffic police drill team, and I was the guidon bearer.
And what year was that?
Ooh, uh, hmm.
You were probably 10 or 11 years old in the 6th grade.
I was, yeah, 9 or 10 probably. I was like 3/4 of a year younger than everybody else, just based on when
Okay.
they decided to stick me in first grade.
Gotcha.
Uh, I want to say like 59,
1959, approximately.
60 maybe. Uh, so I learned drilling ceremonies from
Yeah.
a E5, E6 uh, Marine Corps recruiter at at the tender age of whatever it was, 8 or 9 or 10. Uh, then when I got to high school in 1964, uh, I went in ROTC and
Okay.
already knew drilling ceremonies and all that stuff. So did 3 years of ROTC, had big fun doing that. Uh, got out of high school and immediately joined the Marine Corps because my brother had already done that. And whatever he was going to do, I was going to do because got to be like big brother.
How much older than you was he? Like a couple years?
He's 3.5 years older.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, thank you for sharing
So,
that.
oh,
Oh,
we're not
wait, I
done.
mean, okay, yeah, please continue.
Uh, so joined the Marine Corps had a 2 year enlistment at the time. And I figured, well, that ought to be enough. And if I don't want to do longer, I can, but then I don't have to. So I joined for two, uh, went to Vietnam, came home from that, and we got back to Camp Pendleton. And I still had, I don't know, 2 or 3 months left on my enlistment, and they put us in. Oh, did they have Butler buildings when you were there?
Butler buildings?
Yeah.
Not that I
A
know of.
any large, well, it didn't even have to be large, any building made out of car corrugated galvanized steel
Oh,
was a Butler building, no matter who the manufacturer was.
we call them Quonset huts, I guess. Is that the
These
same
are
thing?
straight sided.
Oh, okay, okay, no, okay.
It's like I'm sure that company probably still exists. You go get a Butler building, and put it on in your backyard for a shop, or put one up at Camp Pendleton to put a couple hundred Marines in and talk to them. So we're in this big Butler building, and I want to say there were either 350 or 550 Marines that had come home on that boat.
Okay.
Uh, and we're all in the big Butler building, and they're telling us what's going to happen. And they said, "So, all right, so first off, uh, y'all are done. Uh, Marine Corps has all the people it needs right now. Don't need you unless you just specifically want to stay." And one guy raised his hand. He was an E5.
Yeah.
Out of however many hundred of us there were, one guy said, "Well, yeah." Raised his hand. They said, "Okay, go see Sergeant so and so over there. Okay, rest of you, it's Easter weekend. What do you think? Uh, we can here in an hour or so we can cut you loose on liberty, and y'all can come back Sunday night at 5 o'clock, whatever time, and then we'll start processing you out. Or we can start processing right now and get you out of the Marine Corps as quick as possible." And everybody voted for that. They
Hmm.
processed us out. Oh, here's a nice one for you. So part of the process where I don't even know what, I guess we were going to get to get uh, post service, post Vietnam physical exams.
Okay.
Are you healthy enough to get out of the Marines? And they had this long line of Marines going through a room, and it was a big room, uh, full of civilian employees, and they
Hmm.
were all female, and they're all working at their typewriters or doing something. And I'm trying to clean this story up. Uh,
Oh, okay.
uh, Whoever was in charge of moving us around said, "All right, everybody, strip down to your underwear. Get in there." And when you go through that door, well, there's a line of Marines snaking through all these desks with these poor ladies doing whatever they do. And what do you think we were wearing when they said strip down to your underwear?
I mean, nothing or just your
That's
underwear?
correct. Nobody who'd been in Vietnam for more than a day and a half wore underwear.
Yeah.
And
Crotch
I
rot?
would, yeah, yeah, didn't want any crotch rot. I would love, I've always wanted, well, not always, but, uh, for a long time, I've wished I could talk to one of those ladies and see what that was like from their perspective.
Yeah, especially in the 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're probably scarred for life for some of them. I don't know.
Oh, some of them, but well, yeah, if they were, uh, if they'd been in the military, they could have claimed PTSD.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that is an interesting story, and that's
Oh,
something I
so,
wouldn't have known. Go
so
ahead.
that was out of the Marines, get out, go to college, uh, and I got interested. A friend of mine was in the skydiving club, I said, "Oh, that sounds like fun." So I got in the skydiving club, learned how to jump out of airplanes,
Yeah.
and something you and I had talked about earlier before we started this, uh, the combination of the memory of the freedom and the comfort of being in a helicopter in Vietnam. They took, and I don't think I was ever in one that had windows, so it was nice and breezy, and
Yeah.
it could be 100 degrees and 100% humidity on the ground, but in a helicopter with the back ramp down and all the windows gone, and a CH-46. You must have ridden in one of those.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can picture that. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, made me extremely appreciative of uh, the comfort of riding around in one of those rather than being in a six by worried about landmines and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's another one. Uh, sewing kit, housewife, booby trap, IED. How did booby
Yeah.
traps become IEDs?
Sounds like it.
I mean, they were the same thing.
Yeah. IED was just a fancy way, a new fancy acronym,
Well, I don't approve.
improvised
I don't like
explosive
it.
device.
I think booby
Yeah.
traps ought to still be booby traps.
Well, it's probably the first word of that combination that made it untenable for modern day Marines to
Yeah,
say
it
that.
probably is because we can blow you up with one, but we don't want to hurt your feelings with one.
Yeah. That's the way it is. The things go that way. I mean,
They do.
mothers of America look in every once in a while. They're like, well, we don't like how that's named. And then they,
Yeah.
get with their
So
congressman and get something changed, I guess.
so I was out for 4 years, and during those 4 years, I had the combination of the memory of how nice it was to be in a helicopter
Hmm.
until you got shot at in a helicopter. Uh,
Right.
and and riding in airplanes to jump out of them made me think, well, I I think I think I want to fly airplanes. I think so. So I went back in the Marine Corps on the what did they call it? Uh,
Warrant
hmm.
Officer Flight Program or something like
No,
that.
this was Marine Corps. It was OCS, but split into two parts over two different summers, and then you got your commission when you graduated from college.
Oh,
And
okay. Yeah, that's ROTC or something, isn't it? Like college
PLC,
level?
platoon leaders class.
Platoon leader. I've heard of that. Yeah.
So I went back in the Marine Corps with to do the platoon leaders class, and after my first year of college, I went to Quantico, and I think it was to be 6 weeks. And after a month, my then fiance uh, encouraged me to quit doing that and to not go back and do any more because she didn't like the idea of being married to somebody who was in the military.
Hmm.
Uh, and I acquiesced. And when the amount of, I mean, after, up to a point, you were stuck. But after
Yeah.
4 weeks, there was some part of the rule book that said, okay, if you've done 4 weeks and you would like to leave at your own request, you can do that. Uh,
Okay.
so in order to appease her, with only 2 weeks to go, I dropped at my own request.
Hmm.
Uh, but you'll see where that is gonna lead.
Okay.
Uh, and then, little side note, the PLC was also gonna guarantee me Marine flight school.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
so, I had already made that decision. I wanted to fly. Uh, so I did that, undid that, and started back to college, and uh, decided that I would go in the Army and do the Warrant Officer Flight Training Program. Uh, so I went back in the Army in October of '73, got on a bus, headed toward Fort Polk for uh, basic training, which
Okay.
would essentially be my third time going through basic because I had done my original Marine Corps basic at Paris Island,
Okay.
uh, got out for a year, went back to PLC,
Right.
did a month's worth of basic and Quantico for that, and now I was looking at another basic training for the Army. But I figured Army being what they are, it couldn't be too bad. And we got there, and they said anybody prior service within the last 4 years, and raised my hand. Said, okay, you don't have to do this. We'll just issue you some uniforms and put you on a bus, take you to Fort Rucker, and you can start flight school.
Nice. Well,
All
I
we
mean,
need, all we need is your DD-214 for your most recent one. Well, I had that.
yeah.
I had one that from PLC, and it was within 4 years.
Hmm.
So I called home and I asked Mama to go to the bank and get one of those and mail it to me. She said, "Okay, call me back in about an hour and I'll have it, and you can give me the address to ship it to." And I called her back, and she said, "Not there." I said, "Well,
Oh no.
what do you mean?" I said, "Not there." I said, "Well, what about all your other stuff that's in that safe deposit box?" She said, "It's all there, but your original DD-214 and your 4 certified true copies are not there."
Huh.
And literally until probably within 2 or 3 days of her death was the last time I asked her. So really, that DD-214 wasn't in there? She said, "Nope, wasn't in there."
Yeah.
So I said, "Well, no problem. I'll call St. Louis. I'll call the record center, and they'll send me one." So I called St. Louis and the Navy and Marine Corps Record Center and told them what I wanted. He said, "Oh, man, sorry for your luck. Uh, your records got lost in the fire."
Oh no.
So that meant another whatever it was, 6 or 8 weeks of boot camp again.
Oh my
So I did
goodness.
that and and finished basic training again. And got shipped off to Fort Rucker, where we went into uh, warrant officer candidate snowbird status. I'm not sure why they call us snowbirds, but anyway, we were waiting for enough sufficient amount of people who were going to flight school to get to flight school to have enough to put a class together and make it worthwhile to herd this group of people through flight school.
Yeah.
And about the second or third day there, uh, our class leader came back from the company office as he did every day with any new guys that were joining our class, and he came back with Jenny. So So had I not had that long delay, uh, 8-week delay, we would never have met. Might have
Ah,
known her, might have seen her around the area, but we wouldn't have met.
okay.
So that was a small price to pay, 8 weeks of basic training so I could get married to her.
Well, cool. And it's a love story.
It is.
So looking back over what we've talked about so far, so is there anything you want to ask me about or anything you want to talk about other than what we've talked about so far?
Well, I don't know. I know your primary MOS was gunning, but I don't know what you did in the Marines.
Okay, so well, really briefly, I don't think I've ever shared my story on the podcast either. So I joined the Marine Corps in 1992 at 18 years old out of high school. But before that, like as a junior, I started reaching out to the military because I didn't want to do more school and I didn't feel like I wanted to do a trade and I didn't have a lot of options available to me. And but then I had an uncle that was in the Marine Corps. My grandpa was in the Navy. My dad was in the Army. So, but I liked my uncle and not the most. He's a great uncle. He's my grandpa's brother. And nobody I knew really was going in the Marine Corps, so it's kind of something I guess that set me apart. But you know how magazines used to have those fallout little squares of cardboard advertising something, or sometimes they'd have military advertisements. You know, you fill this out, send it in if you want to join the Army. Well, I filled out one for the Army, one for the Air Force, and one for the Marine Corps. And they all well, they didn't all contact me back, but they contacted me back in this order. The Marine Corps, 1 week later, I got a phone call from the Marine Corps recruiter in my town. I don't know how they did that magic, but
Wow.
then 2 years later, I was in Marine boot camp when I finally heard back from the Army, and I never heard back from the Air Force. So, you know, I was
What,
already in Marine Corps boot camp. What's that?
uh, w- um, did you go to MCRD San Diego, or did you go to real boot camp?
Oh, well, I mean, I did go to San Diego, but it was real boot camp for me, but that's okay. That's okay. You can, and for all my listeners don't know anything about the Marine Corps, well, it matters where you went to boot camp. It matters to you, but it doesn't matter to the people that went to the other boot camp. So they both, as far as I can tell, have advantages and disadvantages. And I've heard the whole list of for both places, but I did go to boot camp in San Diego because I was in Texas at the time. It wasn't like I chose it, you know. It was just
You
like I want to
chose it
join the
by
Marine Corps.
geography.
Yeah, just because I was in Texas and I wanted to join the Marine Corps.
You
So
were on
I
the
went
wrong
in.
side of Mississippi.
Well, that's okay. Oh, or the right side. It depends on which side you're on, I guess.
Oh, there you are.
But well, and you know, and if you can feel the way you feel, I'm not going to take that away from you. Um, but I joined them. But I went into so the recruiter contacted me. I went in. I went in with my dad, and we watched these videos on what they do. You know, they make you into a man. They make you, you know, what all the benefits were. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. You know, let's. So I went down to Houston, um, and they did a, you know, Marine. What is that? Armed Forces Vocational Aptitude ASVAB. They did the
Oh yeah.
ASVAB test, Armed Forces Vocational Aptitude Battery, which is tests on all different kinds of subjects. But I had a combined score of 98.
Whoa.
And I think the recruiter said, and it was like I had a GT of 123. I had other electronic skills. I had, you know, I was really skilled back then. I don't know what's happened to me these days, but I was really skilled at 18. and I read a lot of books, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how I learned all I learned to do so good at that test, but I did so good at it that the recruiter was like, "Here's the Marine Corps MOS manual. You can pick any job you want in here, any starting job." And so I looked through it, from cover to cover, and I was like, "Well, this one only takes 3 weeks? What can they even teach you in 3 weeks?" It was maybe admin or something. And I flipped through and looking at different jobs, and I finally found one. It was like radio repair. And I was like, "Ooh, well, that sounds fancy." And it was like 11 months of school. And I was like, "They gotta teach me something, 11 months. That's the one I want." And turns out it qualified for a bonus, but I had to sign up for 6 years. But I didn't care. Sounds good to me. And only afterwards did I find out that they feed you up to 3 or more times a day. They tell you what your job is and make you do it. You don't have to figure it out for yourself. There were so many good things about the Marine Corps that aren't what the recruiter would tell you, but for me, like they pay you and they feed you and give you a place to stay. I was like, this sounds a lot better than home. So I was whisked away after 3 months after I graduated from high school. I got on a bus and ended up in San Diego for boot camp, and I graduated, of course, and went to beautiful 29 Palms to learn my MOS, my occupational specialty, or my job in the Marine Corps. Well, it was about half my job. The other half is Marine stuff, marksmanship, and the field day, and had they haven't changed the word field day, have they, in all these years?
Ooh, I hope not.
It's I thought it was something special. I like, and today the drill instructor boot camp, we're going to do field day. I was like, oh, we're going to go outside and play games.
Oh,
This sounds
oh,
great. Like,
yeah. You know, the
yes, and it was
flags and
like,
banners and everything?
yeah, I didn't know what we were going to play. Red Rover, Red Rover. I mean, it didn't seem to fit, but hey, it was better than running, 3+ miles. But no, it turned out that that is cleaning the barracks from one side to the other, from top to bottom, with toothbrushes if you have to.
With your wash
Um,
rag.
with your what?
Wash rag.
Yeah, with your wash rag, whatever you had available to you, you were cleaning, and I did that for many years in the Marine Corps field day. And they like to say, we had a commandant apparently right before I actually came in that said he was going to make every Marine a basic rifleman, or every Marine is a basic rifleman. It kind of changed it to where we all do a lot of the rifle training. And
Oh, that phrase was in use in '68.
oh, really? Okay, well,
Oh, yeah.
I heard it. General Gray was the one that, well, maybe he implemented some changes in line with that saying. I don't know. Um, so yeah, so we did a lot of infantry training. I'd say is about half my time in the Marine Corps was infantry kind of training skills and drills and web marksmanship and stuff like that. And the other half was my job of radio repair, electronic repair. So yeah, and I, went through the ranks. I pursued excellence. I didn't understand. I went from floating down the stream of wherever the Marine Corps took me. Eventually, I had to decide, and I had to pick a path and push for it. And when I started doing that, then that's when I got to be a gunnery sergeant, a staff sergeant, then a gunnery sergeant. And as a gunnery sergeant, I was in charge of all kinds of Marines that were fixing radios. And I was sitting in the office signing off on their paperwork and talking to them when they got in trouble and trying to motivate them and running them, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday when we were garrisoned on stateside, looking out for them and making sure they didn't lose their weapon when we were in Iraq. So their weapon or their night vision goggles or I had a list of things I read off every day and they just hold it up. Like, okay. Glorified babysitter. I mean, yeah, you could say that, but it was a lot of fun, being a gunnery sergeant. And then I retired and well, and that was, well, now in March. It's March now, like 14 years ago.
Oh,
March the 30th actually was my retirement date. So I retired March the 30th of 2012. So no, 2013, no, 20, I think it was, yeah, it was 2013. So yes, yeah, so it's been 13 years, I guess. Anyway, my math, I had to catch up my math there. But so yeah, that's my story in a nutshell. And then I went to college, and then I've just been drawn to whatever I'm curious about since then, with all
do
my
you still
other.
have an interest in electronics?
Not really. I mean, I can pretty much troubleshoot or fix almost anything. Don't tell anybody that too loud. They'll bring me other broken stuff. Most of the
Oh, yeah.
time, that means I look at it and I mess around with it for a minute. I'm like, it's broken. Buy a new one. That's not how it works in the Marine Corps, but that's how it works in the civilian world. In the Marine Corps, it's like, it's broken. Go back to your bench and fix it. Look at the TM, technical manual, figure it out, fix it, order the parts you got to
Yeah,
order.
use
We
your
had to
basic
reuse.
diagnostic skills.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's helped me with so many things. I mean, the troubleshooting skills we perfected over the course of my career in the Marine Corps. I troubleshoot the RV, I troubleshoot a TV, I troubleshoot my phone. It's like, you get this idea of, systematically seeing what's wrong and what's good, keeping track of it, and then creative problem solving. Because in the Marine Corps, it's like, I need to order this cable. We're gonna put it on back order. Well, maybe I can fix it with a paper clip. Maybe I can fix it with, a staple. And so we have to be resourceful because the Marine Corps. I don't know how it was back in Vietnam, but my 20 years, we didn't have a lot of money. The Army and the Air Force had money. We didn't have a lot of money. So we had to make things work sometimes
We
and think
stole
of
stuff from
creative.
the Army.
Oh, well, there you go. That's another very viable alternative.
Yeah.
Gear adrift is a gift. I mean, I think that's Navy officially, but we use it a lot in the Marine Corps. Oh, that
I
just
hadn't
remind
heard
you of a
that one.
saying?
No, I never heard that one. I like that.
Yeah, we say that a lot. Lock your stuff up. Gear adrift is a gift. You
There
know.
was a similar philosophy in the Army. Uh, any tool that was left on the helicopter was mine.
Mm. So you did eventually become a helicopter pilot, and then you go back to Vietnam and fly?
I did not. I timed it just right. Uh, uh, went to flight school, met Jenny, got married in December 10th, 1974, uh, a week and a half after I graduated from flight school,
Hmm.
and then went to Germany and did my whole active duty Army flying career in Germany, doing
Okay.
the border patrol of the East German and Czech border,
Okay. Huh.
and that was fun.
What was fun about it?
Uh, it it was relatively fun compared to everybody else in the Army flying helicopters because it was during the fuel crisis and nobody, I think everybody was limited to flying 4 hours a month or something. But because we were protecting the free world from a communist horde, we had no limitations on flight time. We flew all we
Okay.
needed to, all we wanted to, and every day. The only thing that would keep us from showing our presence on the border to strike fear into the hearts of the communists was 0-0 weather. No ceiling, no visibility. If,
Yeah.
if you could sneak out under the clouds and the crappy visibility and make it to the border, we went.
Okay. Well, that does sound like fun. Fly as much as you want while everybody else can't fly.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Well, Well, we only have a few minutes left, but I can't help but remember you said you had a Starlink story.
Um, yes, my friend that hired me uh, into the job I had, might as well say for the last 20 years of my career.
Yeah,
Uh, uh, I forget when it was about a year and a half ago. Went to go fly somewhere one day, and there's a white odd shaped plate stuck up in one of the side rear cockpit windows. I said, "What's that?" He said, "Starlink." Okay, what's Starlink? Oh, Elon Musk. It says, "Oh yeah, 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 internet." So does it work? I said, "Works until we go too fast." Uh, it's got a top speed of, I think it was 478 knots
really.
ground speed. So if we did not exceed 478 knots, it we could talk on the phone, uh, get weather, send text messages, do anything just like the internet at home. But
Okay.
it's but that was all fine westbound flying into the wind. But when you turned around to come home and you got the 70 knot push from winds on the tail, uh, pretty soon you've exceeded the speed limit and you lost the internet.
Hmm.
But it was like added a whole new dimension to flying because you could, I mean, aside from the non-aviation stuff, where are we going to stay and what hotel are we going to be in tonight, or
Yeah.
stuff like that. You get weather, uh, all that stuff.
So
Make
it op
transportation arrangements for the passengers, whatever we needed.
okay, so it opened up a lot more options while you were in flight. You can
Yeah,
handle them before you actually got on the ground.
yeah, yeah, really handy. And it had a speed limit because it was I don't know what Starlink's terms are, but it had the home version. The
Okay.
I don't know, what do you pay, about $100 a month?
Oh, me? For my
It,
well, I'm a remote, anywhere within a continental United States, or I think 20 miles out into the ocean. Mine'll work anywhere.
and how
So,
much is your monthly fee?
I think it's $160 a month.
That sounds like what Troy was paying for his,
Okay.
and we could have had the aviation version with a full blown proper installation, didn't have to prop the thing up in the window, uh,
Yeah.
for $2,000 a month.
Yeah, that seems a little bit more pricey.
Yeah, well, it's aviation. Uh,
Everything's pricey.
whatever you're doing, uh, imagine what it would cost just in the normal world, and if it has to do with airplanes, multiply times 10.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it fits. You if you round yours off, 150, make it 200 times 10. There's your $2,000 a month.
Yeah. Well, so he brought it in and strapped it to the window, and you learned
Yeah.
something new.
Yep. Also, made another, almost as big a jump in in flying and aviation stuff as the advent of the smartphone.
Hmm.
Uh,
Okay.
everything we did, you get to New Jersey and you're looking for a hotel, and people at the counter at the airport say, hand you, hey, here's another word for you, mimeograph. You know what that
Yeah.
is?
Yeah, it's a print
And
off.
hand you a printout of the list of hotels and restaurants that are within easy reach, and then you got to
Mm,
figure out how to navigate to the hotel.
yeah. Yeah. Things have
Although,
gotten Go
here's
ahead.
a rabbit trail for you. Uh, in I worked at Executive Jet Aviation, which was the outfit that was started by Arthur Godfrey, Jimmy Stewart, uh, who's the guy that dropped the first atomic bomb? Uh,
Oppenheimer?
no,
No.
pilot.
Oh, I don't know the pilot.
Oh, anyway, and him and one other well-known celebrity type person started this operation, Executive Jet Aviation, where they would do charters and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. And when I worked for them, uh, I had the first captain they assigned me to was another Vietnam vet, and we flew together for I don't know 6 8 months. And but they rotated people around. They didn't leave people paired for a whole long time.
Yeah.
And then for a few weeks, I had several different captains, and then they put me with Rex. Rex was the youngest F-86 pilot in Korea, flying F-86s. Uh, survived that, came out, and went to work for EJA, much later on after he got out of the Air Force. Uh, Rex was a uh, astronomy hobbyist, and we were out. I don't know. We had left Ohio. We were based in Columbus, Ohio. We left there to go to California to hurry up, get our required whatever it was, 8 or 10 hours of rest, so we could real quick turn around and bring somebody back to the East Coast somewhere.
Mm.
And as we're going out, Rex is pointing out, okay, see that? That's Jupiter. See that? That's not Mars. What's another one that's fairly visible?
Venus, Mercury
Probably.
sometimes.
Yeah, I think it was Jupiter and Venus we were saying. Uh, and he's pointing this stuff out to me, and nice to know information, kind of fun. Got to California, went to bed, got up, came back, and we ended up in might have been Hartford, Connecticut, and we pulled into the parking place at the airport, and we got the airplane all tidied up, put to bed, and got our suitcases, and we're literally Rex had 1 foot up in the motel van, and the airport cop comes running out. Don't go, don't go. Rex says, why? I said, well, another airplane just ran into your airplane.
Oh no.
So, so we drug ourselves back to the airplane, and he had hit it with his wing. He was turning out of parking. His wing hit our nose so hard that it rotated the airplane about 45 degrees.
Mm.
So we knew we weren't going anywhere with that crushed radome, the soft, relatively soft nose of the airplane behind which lives the radar antenna.
Yeah.
Uh, and we got it drug over to a repair shop on the airport, and finally got everything taken care of, and I'm going to the hotel. Well, now we're lost, and Rex says, "Wait a minute," and he points up and he says, "Well, there's Venus. That means this way is wet. Okay, we'll just have to go this way, and we'll get to that." And sure enough, the boy navigated by the planets in in nowhere land, Connecticut, and got us to the hotel.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's old school. That's like how they used
Yeah,
to navigate
it's
the
real
ocean or
old
what.
school.
Did he pull out his little star measuring device and like, "Oh, okay," whatever they called it, I don't remember.
Yeah, his sextant. Yeah, he didn't
Yeah,
even
there you
do well.
go.
And the best part about flying with Rex, he was gruff, uh, but it wasn't actual gruffness. It was just here's how I am gruffness. It was kind of the face he put on. Uh,
Mm.
you knew when he yelled at you, he didn't think he was yelling. He was just speaking forcefully. And I was in the senior guy, the director of operations office one day before or after a flight, and I was either just about to be given to a new captain. Oh no, I think I was just about to be made captain. Uh, and I was in there talking to him. I said, "So seems like Rex and I have been together for longer than usual. Uh, any particular reason?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, what was it?" He said, "'Cause you're the only guy that never requested a crew change when they flew with Rex."
There you go.
There you go. Be that guy that doesn't request a crew change. Just live with it.
Yeah. Well, I had similar, well, in some ways similar experience because I had was g when I went to, Afghanistan, actually, I was a gunnery sergeant, and there was a guy who had got out of the Marine Corps as an officer, as a captain, and he went and became a lawyer. And I'm not gonna give too many of his details because he's my friend, but he became a lawyer, then one day he was talking to a friend who had stayed in the Marine Corps and was now a full bird colonel, and he was the, captain had turned 50, and he's like, "You know what? I wanna deploy and lead Marines in battle." And he talked to his, full bird colonel friend, and he got orders issued, and he they put him in my unit. And so at the end of our time together, and then I have plenty of stories to share about him, but at the end of our time together, he said, "Gunny Evans," he said, "I go through secretary on a weekly basis. The fact that you were able to put up with me for 6 months, that's exemplary."
There you
He's
go.
like, "Call me if you're ever in Las Vegas or whatever." And we're still friends to this day because I do call him and we talk, and I went and visited him, uh, oh, probably about a year ago. And so it's just interesting, but in that way too, like Rex, he's kind of a little hard on people, you know. But I've been in the Marine Corps 18 years by then, so I've probably seen worse than that. And there's nothing you do about it. You just suck it up and do your job. And
Yeah,
people are going to yell at you. People are going to scream at you. You're going to get your butt chewed. It's just a part of life, a part of life in the Marine Corps anyway.
yeah.
But well, Jimmy, it has been a lot of fun talking to you, and thank you for sharing your various stories with us. From I know you said you got married in 1974. That's when I was born, so you're letting me know about a world that I never experienced before
Wow,
that time
I
period.
hadn't thought about that.
But well, we've talked enough for an episode tonight, but we'll definitely have to have you back as a guest some other time.
I look
Um,
forward to it.
yeah. So thank you for joining us and sharing your stories with us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
And thank you to all the listeners who are tuning into this and getting to hear some of these great stories and getting to wonder what these words mean that we're using as we speak to each other in Marine Corps terms. But Thanks for tuning in anyway, and we'll see you next episode.